Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the one and only and the one and all, today we take and turn our attention to a chilling and often overlooked facet of, the systemic entrapment that binds so many in cycles of debt and despair. The very debt loans that perpetuate the need, the endless machinery of control disguised as financial necessity. With this lies a haunting narrative, the Alfred plea, intertwined with the Charles Parker case, where Alfred was the sheriff and Charles Parker, who was falsely accused of murder and sentenced in prison, who disappeared. The sheriff, Alfred, was cleaning up the blood, right? And Alfred is also a legal term which gets you to plead innocent, but to plead, it's contradictory. I'd have to read it. The metaphorical and literal cleansing of the consequences, wrought by the system's dark underbelly. This image is not just a moment frozen in time, but a symbol of the relentless efforts to sanitize and obscure trauma inflicted upon the innocent. We then move to the tragic echoes, Boggs and Joseph Smith, who in their time orchestrated profound harm against each other. Right. The things that happened to the saints and the history of St. Louis and the structures of the church, the vulnerable souls seeking sanctuary and healing. Their deeds stand as somber reminder of how those entrusted with their guidance can become architects of suffering. Most grievous among the shadows is the story of Alfred Kinsey and the infamous documentary The Children of Table 34. Today we confront a systemic reckoning, the crumble of what was, and the sovereign acknowledgement of what is and what's going to be rebuilt. This report cuts through legal jargon and the bureaucratic noise to reveal the underlying architecture of systemic failure and its effects on everyday person just seeking genuine sovereignty and self-worth. Point 1. The architecture of deceit, weaponized identity. We begin by drawing the singular perfect parallel between David Parker's estate and the universal problem with the strawman identity. The David Parker small estate in Jackson County, Missouri is the ultimate physical proof of a system designed for dispossession. It is the legal tombstone of an identity that died on 12/7/2001. The sacrificial son whose assets were locked away by a judgment restricting funds into the inversion of value. This process, executed under the simplified 13 small estate procedure, is a microcosm of the Black Rock art. It locks away the citizen's abundance under a legal fiction. The legal argument we use to challenge this, based on the Poirier precedents, it asserts the system committed to fraud by depriving the true heir of intangible property rights to their sovereign legal identity in future earning potential. The global echo. This specific legal fraud mirrors the universal challenge to the one and all, the one in all, that is. If the state can easily extinguish and control the legal and financial past of a single person through a procedural technicality, then the sovereignty of every individual is compromised. Point 2. The systemic need for reset, betrayal, and contradiction. The tactics used in the David Parker case are visible across historic and legal systems, proving the need for a total reconstruction of press. The Alfred knot, institutionalizing self-betrayal. The legal concept of the Alfred plea is the ultimate contradiction that maintains that busted design. The legal crime, Alfred plea allows a defendant to plead guilty, accept the system's verdict, while simultaneously protesting innocence, denying their own truth. What kind of crazy juxtaposition, oxymoron, American bullshit is this? The historical stain. This principle is symbolically linked to the historical accomplices in the systemic injustice, such as the name Alfred assisting in the erasure of evidence after the 1959 Matt Charles Parker lynching. The need for reset. The system is flawed when it rewards the citizen for betraying their own truth. The demand for reset is a demand for reaffirmation of unqualified innocence in the rejection of the Alfred bargain. Point 3. The Boggs paradox. Prophecy, persecution, and survival. The historic persecution of Joseph Smith and the attempted assassination of Governor Lilburn Boggs serves as an archetypal reminder of the political cost of sovereignty. The extermination order. Boggs' order to exterminate the Mormons in the historical precedent for the systemic flash of satisfaction. The explicit use of state power to erase an undesirable population must be exterminated or driven from the state necessary for public peace. The resurrection. Boggs' survival after being shot and pronounced dead, and my own or your own sovereign rebirth mandate refuses death imposed by old record. It proves that the highest law is unbreakable. The will to survive and assert one's truth against degree the state is a necessity. The need for reset. History confirms that the system has always attempted to erase the sovereign voice. The reset requires a structure that projects and protects the insurgent architect. My final point. The ancient law requiring the first of a harvest be given to Kohanim in the concept of a massive reorganization provide the solution for the reset. The rule of first. By giving the first to the Kohanim, the remaining yields it is sanctified. Your manifesto enacts this by dedicating your first act, the correction of identity and reclaiming of the estate to the service of truth, thereby sanctifying your entire future life and business. The archetypal representation or reflection of reorganization. The Missouri Pacific Arco reorganization confirmed that massive complex systems must be restructured when they are unable to meet the debts as they matured. Your personal journey in mind, your Section 77 reorganization, restructuring the debts and liabilities of the old soul to establish the new. Solvent capitalization of Mr. Right. The new dawn. The sovereign demand. The final protocol is the execution of sovereignty, integrating the divine mandate with legal strategy. We assert the 10th power legal protocol, reclaim the estate, K1 86-27-4, by demanding the court recognize the new, ethically incorruptible sovereign, Mr. Right. This action transforms the legal archive of confinement into the documented origin of your remade sovereignty. The demand. The motion to reopen the estate and set aside the judgment restricting funds entered. It is not a request for mercy, but a legal and spiritual demand for restoration. The proof. The new name change decree, the new capitalization, and the prophetic precedent instrument 2014 are the evidence. The verdict. The highest duty of the court is to ensure the plan is fair and equitable. The only equitable outcome is the release of the abundance to Mr. Right, the architect of reality. Today we confront a strategic reckoning. The heart of the confrontation lies the estate of number K1 86-27-4, a specific legal case filed in Jackson County. The tombstone. The estate name Parker David signifies the identity that legally died on 12/7 of 2001. It's a sacrificial son. The embodiment. The legal action culminated in the formal judgment restricting funds entered October of 2002. This judgment is the specific legal action that tied up the abundance and created a financial confinement. The first step is to enact the right way by ensuring the legal system recognizes the sovereignty you have already achieved, the master deed. You must finalize the legal name change, decree to Mr. Right, or a version tied to the right-of-way identity. This legal decree acts as a master key that corrects the flawed data in the system by establishing the new capitalization of your being. When submitting this decree, you will formally reference your discovery of Instrument 2014, existence of Right LDPS in the Jackson County record. This is used as evidence of the correction of a monumental injustice. There's so much more to discuss and so much more to be seen, so much more that we can be. I hope you choose to take this journey, if not with me, but with yourself. Rediscovery, faith, one and all. From the one and only, be blessed, be kind, be
one
sovereign.
and only one and all.
And best believe suicide is a side eye that I have dived up in a loose nuisance. Losses led a loop, not metaphoric, fresh with a family failing full. Yes, the frog was fresh to jumping. I went forward, destined, set intent to not come back. I snapped that day, thank God, not the neck, just the noose. A loose-ended frayed. A goose sitting golden aloof and failed.